So now we are diving into the waters of Prince Edward Island. That's right, it's time to talk oysters. So Chef Matt Dean Pettit is here in our Samsung kitchen with me, but before we start slurping down some of these guys, let's learn a little bit about how they get from ocean to plate.
I grew up on the wharf down here. My parents built the barn in 1997. It was intended to be a fish market. And tourists wanted oysters opened and ready to eat in Malpeque at the fish market. So over the course of a few years, it evolved into a tiny little restaurant. And 20 years later, we have the oyster barn you see today. A lot of the oysters from Prince Edward Island are labeled as Malpeques, kind of like as a breed name or a general name brand for all of Prince Edward Island. Malpeque oysters are great because they have a long storage life. They're slow growing, cold waters. The slower growing, you get a nice hard shell, nice clean flavor. If they grow really fast, you have a really brittle shell, and the shelf life isn't as long on the oyster. The minerals in our waters give them a nice, unique flavor. When the water warms up in the spring, the oysters and mussels, they let their larvae into the water. So we'll hang out special collectors in the water. The oyster spat will settle onto your collector and start to form a shell. Later on in the fall, we'll go and we'll harvest the tiny little seeds that are about the size of a dime or bigger. And then from there, we put them into our oyster bags and grow them on the surface for about 2 to 3 years from there. When they're on the surface, they're getting a lot more food. They're getting that plankton that's on the surface of the water that the sun helps grow. And the water, a little bit warmer water, helps them grow a little bit faster. Actually, mussels and oysters are probably the only sustainable fish farming in the world. And we don't have to feed them anything. We don't have to put anything on them. They're just natural. We're just using Mother Nature to our advantage. Wild oysters are like snowflakes. They can be any shape. The cultured oysters are on the surface, and the rocking of the water helps keep them a cup shape. And every 2 weeks, we'll roll the cages over, which helps roll the oysters and erodes the shell into a nice cup deep shape. You want to find the hinge. The top's always shorter than the bottom, and the muscle that's holding the oyster together is always on the right-hand side, 2/3 the way up the shell. So he's going to be about right there on all the oysters. We get our knife in there nice and firm, and kind of wiggle it in. You can feel it sink into the tissue. And I'm going to roll my knife over, like that. Then I'm going to shimmy up on top of the meat, and I'm going to cut it free. Then we're going to cut him free from the bottom shell, same as the top shell. And just make sure he's loose inside there. The most common mistake people can make sometimes is they don't have their knife in far enough, and they try to force it immediately, and they break off the top of the shell. 99% of the oysters that are served at the oyster barn are raw on the half shell. We serve them with cocktail sauce, horseradish, fresh lemon, and we do rhubarb mignonette or raspberry mignonette. Depending on the season, our fried oyster recipe has been the same since we opened here. A lot of the oysters that we fry are wild. These are all the ugly oysters, all the standards. Standard is the grade that does not look good on the plate. They all taste the same, they're all coming from the same oyster farm. So we have our oysters in our dredge. Quick shake. A lot of the islanders are coming for the fried oysters, and the tourists want the raw ones. We're going to throw them on the plate.
Yes, sir, I will take them fried. Fascinating stuff. And anyone out there who still thinks oysters are gross, MDP is daring you. He is daring you to try his garnishes and just see if you don't come back an oyster regular and you want them all the time. You're a regular buck-a-shucker. He's going to make it happen. So
that's my job.
That's your job.
Yeah.
And it is all about the toppings when it comes to oysters. Where do you want to start?
Now this is about making oyster champions out of everybody.
Yes.
And so we can take a beginner novice oyster eater.
Yeah.
And it's all about, this recipe is about the accoutrement. This is about the
Okay.
sauces. So first off, a beautiful, beautiful mint granita. Little pot, 2 cups of boiling water, some sugar. And in this case, we're using mint. So I just
Okay.
want to put in some fresh mint. You can chop that. I want that to go down for about 10 minutes. Pull it off the heat and let that just infuse.
Okay.
You're gonna pop that into a container or some kind of tray that you can put into the freezer. The secret with it, have you ever made granita?
Never.
Anybody make granita?
I've
Okay.
eaten granita.
Well,
I haven't made granita.
Okay, well, yes, me too.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I've done both, but that's why I'm here, so thank you very much. Sorry, I just got all granita up there. So the key with the granita is that you've got to continually shave it. So every couple hours, if you have it in the freezer for, say, maybe, 4 to 6 hours,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a process, but you want to and it's the ice crystals. So
Just tilt it a little bit
You
because
got
we
it.
want to see what that looks
We
like
do.
when you're doing when you're shaving the granita.
this is so simple to do. Again, you could put raspberries, any kind of seasonal fruit,
Yeah.
nectarines, peaches, whatever you want. And I just want to keep sort of shaving this. And then I would you can put that back in the freezer.
Okay.
And then keep doing it because a good granita is all about the ice crystals.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
So
I've never seen like a mint one. I
this is
see it
gonna be
always with
insane.
like sweet like fruit. So you're gonna
I'm going to put this as your
I'm gonna try
topping.
one.
You are going to.
everyone.
Do you want
I
to
don't
try
think
this?
that they're gross, but in the Moore Perron household, we're divided.
You are gonna-
Sydney and I are boring palates, and Eva and Leo want all the oysters and all the mussels and all of the the gourmet food possible.
I want you to try that beautiful Melpack oyster from
Is it
PI.
weird that I'm nervous to eat this on camera?
No, cheers. Good to see you again. Just a little one
I
of
know
these.
this is not how you do it, but I don't want to get it on my suit, everybody.
No, it's okay. It's gonna be a cold. Grab it on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's really refreshing.
Sweet mint. Look at that herbaceousness of that beautiful mint like that.
MDP, that's
right?
very
the
good.
savoriness of the minerally of that beautiful oyster.
Very good.
Briny. That's number
Okay.
1.
Let's get to our
Good.
next sauce.
Number 2, the next sauce. So number 2 is a classic sort of seafood style aioli. So I don't want you to have a blender. I don't want to go crazy. Let's not make.
Let's not get fancy.
We don't need to get fancy. It's not about there's so much cleanup with a blender.
Right.
So when we're making an emulsion, I just want to keep this simple. So
Okay.
a little container
Yeah.
and just a sealed container. Again, if we're doing takeout and we're doing all these deliveries of foods, please keep these. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Wash them out, use them
Wash
again
them
and
out,
again.
use them exactly. 1 garlic clove chopped. I've got some Dijon mustard, about a tablespoon.
That's Dijon.
It is. It's a
Okay. Mm-hmm.
nice little Dijon. Extra virgin olive oil, a good olive oil.
Yeah.
Because this is going to create our emulsion
Don't
for
be
us there.
cheap.
Do not be cheap on that. Egg yolk. So a beautiful, beautiful egg yolk.
Okay.
This is going to create that nice viscosity that we're looking for.
Yeah.
A pinch of our seafood seasoning. You can use any
nice.
kind of seafood seasoning that you're looking for.
Okay.
A fresh lemon. We're going to make this, again, super easy,
We'll do
super
a little
simple.
shaky-shaky?
It's a shaky-shaky. So,
Okay.
sealed, dealed, ready to go, right?
Let's go.
It's just like
Shake
you're
it
making. It's just like you're making.
Yeah,
you're doing the next
baby.
one for me here.
Okay,
You're doing the
no
next
problem.
one. That's
I got
right.
it already. I got the
Boom.
moves.
That's
I got
it.
the moves.
And as you can see, you've got that emulsion. It's
Yeah.
ready to go. You've got the combination. It's like 15 seconds of a little fun dance.
Is this the guy?
That is the guy. So that is there. You've got that beautiful oyster. Knock that back. You're going to have that savoriness. You've got that Dijon. It's going to be a bit of a snap to it. It's going to hit you back here, right?
Yeah.
Alive.
Oh, tart.
Tart.
Oh, it's
right?
very good.
You get, again, that savoriness. So you're playing with all your full senses. And again, this is for somebody that maybe doesn't want to eat oysters or used to eating oysters all the time.
That's
Next
very
up.
good. Okay, next up, chef.
Next up, so 4 or 5, a simple ponzu. So going more on an Asian style. So light soy sauce.
Okay.
In terms of sodium level. Rice wine vinegar. Nice little sweetness there. I've got a little teriyaki sauce. So bonito flakes, which is shaved dried tuna.
Yep.
It is better than it maybe sounds, but it's stunning.
Okay.
Toasted sesame and a little bit of nori.
Oh, that sounds
So
good.
in Japanese cuisine, that is a
Umami.
staple. That's right. You know the rule, and it's workout day here. Let's get you rolling that one for me.
So this will help to get the juices
That's
out.
it. That's it.
And also your biceps and triceps.
We all like
Thank
to work
you.
out, Trace. This is what we do. And you know what? I just wanted you to get that workout in for today because we've already done this one. Sorry, don't hate me.
Fine, it's fun.
Right?
It's okay.
It's for TV.
Yeah, I get it.
Making people happy, putting people to work.
Let me
You're
try
gonna
this
get
one.
I love this. I personally love ponzu. Soy sauce, a little bit of sweetness there. That citrus, stunning.
Yes, it's definitely more savory.
Yep.
I very, very much like that. And you can feel the Asian fusion in that one.
Stunning. Last sauce. So Heat, sweet. This is like an MDP little treat. That was fun to say.
Oh, I like that. He's got bars.
Yes, I do, apparently. Something. I have crazy hair. Might have lost a bet here. You've seen me with all different types of hair.
All the hair.
Beards, hairs, everything. Rice wine vinegar. Reason being, we're transferring and reusing. Again, try to reuse some stuff over as we used in the pond zoo.
Yeah.
Rice wine. So we don't have a ton of crazy ingredients going in. Salt and pepper.
Okay.
Honey. I've got a good local Ontario honey. Look at that golden color going in there.
That's going to be good.
It is. I love honey. If
It'll give you the sweetness.
It is. And you could also use something like an agave.
Yeah.
If you don't want. I'm using a little bit of Tabasco in there as well, too, just for some heat. You can put any kind of hot sauce in there.
Yeah.
And I am going to do a little stir, and we just give, again, as you know, a 2-second little shake
So
and go.
we talked a little bit about oysters and how people are sometimes on the fence. You keep shaking it, and I will try it. But I want to bring T in here just because we talk a lot about food.
I think we should.
And like I feel, T, that your palate might be slightly more picky than mine. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, I could take or leave oysters. In the past,
take or
I've
leave it.
tasted them. It kind of tastes like snot.
Yeah, well, I love the
it's
honesty.
just-
I love the honesty on this show.
But in all fairness, it was naked. It didn't have any other stuff on it. It didn't have all the stuff, the jazz that he's doing, all of this pizzazz. So I'm gonna give this a try.
Well, let's do a little cheers, and let's both try these out, and let's hope that snot is not the darkest flavor.
Generally not the word you want when you're eating oysters,
Definitely
but
not.
No.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Down
Here
the
we go.
hatch.
sweet and heat. Sweet and heat.
The sweetness. Ooh, it's got a little kick.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy that.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's
On
the
the
thing.
back
is
end.
You're talking my language because it's sweet.
Yes.
I like this.
That was the right one for you, T.
That was the right one for me.
That was the right one for you. As soon as I saw him put in the honey, I'm like, oh, okay.
That's for me.
T's gonna like it. MDP. I
Yes.
think that you've done the job.
We converted.
You converted me.
oysters.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
You can find all
GP,
of Matt's
love it.
oyster garnish recipes up on our website, cityline.tv.